Hey everyone, welcome back to Showbiz India, and right now I'm in New York City with the extremely talented Gurinder Chadha. Welcome once again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to see you. And let's talk about Viceroy's house. Very, very fascinating subject, but also very deep and very personal, which you had been reticent about for some time.
Yes.
What changed and why did you decide to make this film?
Well, partition is a very sensitive subject, as you know, and many people were affected by it, but many people don't want to talk about it. And I realise many young people don't know anything about it. My family were directly affected, but I didn't really have the courage to make a film on such a sensitive subject until I became a mother myself. And so once I had my kids, then I really felt, okay, I need to step up now and sort of start thinking about legacy and history and start making films that they're going to learn from, you know, as well as doing the other stuff that I like making. Mm-hmm. And so that was when I kind of felt like, okay, I need to tackle this subject, but in a way that's very personal to me. So it's a very British, Indian, sort of Punjabi, female film, you know, from a mother's perspective.
Wonderful. And by the way, my life was also affected. My father was born in Multan, and they went through partition, and then we ended up in Jaipur. I wasn't born yet, but you know, so like you said, there's so many families all around the world that is affected by it.
Totally. Did your grandparents ever talk about it?
Yes, and you know, in the film about those refugee camps and everything, you know, it just brings back home, and it resonates with the world right now, with Syria.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when we started making the film, Obama was president. There was no Syrian refugee crisis, and there was no Brexit. And in the time during the making of the film, the world changed. We were shooting one of the big refugee scenes in a big fort in Jodhpur, and really, you know, it was amazing because I had 1,000 extras, all dressed as period refugees, shooting in the hot sun, and then on our phones the news was coming in of just literally up the road in Syria, all these poor people trying to escape carnage in Syria. And that was the week that the picture of the little boy washed up on the beach, you know, came out. So that was the moment when we suddenly thought, oh, although this film is set 70 years ago, it's actually happening around us
History
right
repeat
now.
itself.
And then when we were editing the film, my editor was Italian, and he was very emotional about the film, but neither of us expected Brexit to happen. And suddenly he didn't know what was going to happen to him as an Italian. His wife was English, his kids were English with British passports, but he had an Italian passport. And then suddenly he said, I feel like one of these refugees. So the film really did was affected by what was going on around the world. Even though it's about partition 70 years ago, it feels very resonant with what's happening today.
And on a lighter note, one of the fun facts I found out with this film is the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the president stays, is the largest still house that houses any state, right?
Yeah, any leader, it's massive, And we were very lucky because I wanted to shoot in the real Viceroy's house, and so I'd gone to visit it, and then I had met Manmohan Singh when he was Prime Minister, and then I met Mr. Modi, and then I worked on the press office, and eventually they granted me permission, and so we actually shot in the real Viceroy's house. And then we also had another location which was amazing where we did a lot of the interior scenes. So I feel that in many ways the film has been blessed, you know, and a lot of people have helped me bring it to fruition, and it's now, you know, arrived at a time in the world where people need to understand that history cannot repeat itself. Because any time any communalism happens or people start pitting one group against another, the end result is death.
It's also very interesting to find out that you told Prince Charles about this film because he's the grand nephew of Lord Mountbatten.
Yes.
And he suggested a book for you to read.
That's right. So we had started working on the script, Paul, my husband and I, with the book Freedom at Midnight, which most people know as the sort of eminent book on partition. And we had read other books too, but at a reception quite early on in St James's Palace, I met Prince Charles and I said, oh, I'm making a film about your uncle. And he immediately got very interested. What was it about? What were we basing it on? And I told him. And he said, okay, but you must look at this book as well. This book shows you how my uncle was totally set up by the British establishment. So I was kind of perplexed by that statement because, I'm talking to the future King of England here. If he's not the establishment, who is, But the book was very interesting. It's by Narinder Singh Sarila. It's called Shadow of the Great Game. And Narendra had been in the British Library in 1997. And whilst he was there, an Indian librarian had been given a bunch of top secret British documents concerning India to index. And she, because she was Indian, read the documents, some of them, realised how important they were because they talked about British policy of what the future of India might be if Britain had to leave. How could they still secure their interests? And she gave the documents to Narendra, who then read them and then wrote his book. So he went into a lot of research. The documents come from the time when Churchill was Prime Minister. And one begins to realise that actually partition might not have happened historically as we've always been told, i.e. we started fighting so Mountbatten had no choice but to divide the country. That's the history that I'd always been told. And in doing all this research we found out that actually that wasn't true, and that actually the British had a policy behind it. It was a political act, not a reaction to what was going on. And my mum had always said, growing up, my mum had always said that everyone had lived very happily in Rawalpindi, where she grew up, side by side. When it was Eid, they gave them sweets. When it was Gurpurab, we gave them sweets. Diwali, everybody celebrated. But she said, but in 1947, August, Achanak, she said, we don't know what happened. Gurinder koi kartuta si, and गोरिया ने कोई काला जादू किया सारे ते सानू पता ही नहीं लग्या की होया. And so now 70 years later I'm able to say to my mum, you were right, Mum.
And actually my parents and grandparents resonate the same view as
really?
Well. Yes, absolutely. They always told me that the British really learned to divide and conquer. They divided us and conquered us in a different way, right? Even though we had freedom.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Also you showed the film to Lady Mountbatten.
Yes. So Pamela Mountbatten, who was there at the time with her parents, I met her a few times, and
she's the daughter.
She's the daughter, and she was great. I mean, this photo actually happened with her parents in 1947 in India, so we recreated it. And in the original photo, she pointed out to me which servant was which, who wore which outfit. So she gave us a lot of detail about the servants, the outfits, who would wear what. Her mother, she said, arrived in India with lots of fancy English clothes, but nothing suitable for the heat. And so somebody was sent off to Connaught Circus and came, and then with all this material, proper Indian cottons, and then a tailor had to run up all these shift dresses for the Mountbatten ladies to wear, like this one, So all these really interesting facts.
Absolutely. And then I also read about how you made sure you recreated that scene even though you only had 1 minute to spare.
Oh my God, this scene, I mean, this is the life of a director. So I had 10 minutes, I was losing the light. Another scene, I'd been shooting a scene with Gandhiji actually that had taken a long time. And I really wanted to capture this image because it was such a particular image of the time. And the Mountbattens are sitting in front of the staff, and everyone was saying it's 10 minutes, you're never going to have the time to do it. And I said, no, I've got to do it, I've got to do it. Gillian was in the wrong outfit because she was, you know, she had to be in a different outfit. So they said, well, Gillian's not even dressed. And I said, where's the outfit? And I gave it to Gillian. She said, I'll change here behind the bush. So she got behind a big bush and all these people surrounded her. She changed her outfit and I was barking at everyone. I said, everyone get in your place, camera here, people there. And then Gillian came running in and I said, right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, smile, and then click. We took the picture with like 3 minutes to spare, so I took another one as well. So I had 2 takes of that shot.
That's great.
Amazing.
What would you like people to take away from this film?
I think what I would really appreciate is the film took me 7 years to get off the ground. I made it for my children, and I want us all to be able to see a film about our own history in our own words, because that doesn't happen very often when you're part of a diaspora. So I really hope that people come out and see the film with their children and with their parents and with their grandparents, because it's a shared history. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, you know, whatever, Asian. It's an important film for us about our history. Whether you agree with it or not, it's still that opportunity, you know, to see films about us by us when you're part of this diaspora are very few and far between. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get another historical film off the ground, you know. It's that tough.
I know you're a very busy lady, so in conclusion, I know you've had Bennett Like Beckham, the play happening. What else?
The musical,
can we look for?
yes. That I'm very excited about. It's a great show. It was on in London last year. We're going to bring it to North America. I think the musical is actually better than the film. And I know a lot of people would disagree with me, but I actually, honestly...
Your film is a cult classic.
I know, but the musical is better than the film.
Wow.
Trust me.
Wow.
And then I've been working on some great TV series, again, about... the diaspora experience, and also I'm working on a big movie set partly in New Jersey and partly in Britain, so that's a good one too.
Well, we look forward to all your work. I enjoy your work immensely.
Thank you.
And we wish you continued success.
Thank you very much.